Hello friends, this is Habeeba with Excel with me. If you like the video, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Let's start today's class, that is Teacher Eligibility Test TET, that is paper 2 Social Studies class 6 chapters from 5th to 8th history. Let's begin with the 5th chapter, Early Life to Settled Life. Which tools were made about 10,000 years ago? They were stone tools. From which district of Andhra Pradesh did archaeologists recover a large number of stone tools from the caves? That is Kurnool district. Which caves in Kurnool district contain stone tools used by hunter-gatherers and resting places for thousands of years? That is Bettamcherla and Banaganapalli. Who studies the past by digging up old places where people lived and taking out the remains of their lives like tools, bones, pots, buildings, etc. Already we know that is archaeologists. Who lived in caves or rock shelters and painted pictures of humans, animals and hunting scenes on the surface of the rocks? They were obviously the hunter-gatherers. What did the hunter-gatherers use to prepare different colors for painting? They were of stones were ground and mixed with animal fat. What did the hunter-gatherers use to paint on rocks? Bamboo brushes. From where did 10 rock shelters which have more than 200 paintings of early people come to be found? That is, Chintakunta is in Mudannur Mandal of YSR Kadapa district. Paintings of early people in Chintakunta caves were painted in which colors? They were in white and red. How many were only white paintings? There were only 10 white paintings. In the red color paintings, humped oxen are found in only one cave, which is locally called Eddula Avula Gundu. What were the remaining paintings? They were of pictures of deer, stag, fox, rabbits, birds, human being, etc. When did humans evolve from food gatherers to food growers? That is more than 12,000 years ago. Started becoming warmer and the period of the great development for humans here. Which animals did man use to domesticate for the first time? They are buffalo, ox, sheep, goat, deer, etc. What is the time period of the Paleolithic age, that is Old Stone Age, that is 2.6 million years BCE to 10,000 BCE. Now this 10,000 BCE to 8,000 BCE is the time period of which Stone Age? That is Mesolithic Age, Middle Stone Age. What is the time period of the Neolithic Age, New Stone Age? That is 8,000 BCE to 3,000 BCE. What crops were cultivated for the first time by the early people? They were rice, wheat, barley, lentil, green gram, black gram, etc. Which animals were kept in herds by the early people? They were sheep, goats, buffaloes, oxen and pigs. How did the early people store grain? Used large clay pots or woven baskets or dig pits into the ground. Now, what was used by the early people for grinding grain and other plant products? They were mortars and pestles. What was excavated which was probably used for cooking and storing food grains? They were earthen pots, some decorated. Earthen pots in the tin made with clay. What was excavated in Nandra village in Madhya Pradesh? Stone tools. Archaeologists excavated tools in Navasa, which is in which state right now? That is Maharashtra. Name the 4 great valley civilizations that emerged. They were Mesopotamia, Egypt, India and China. How early life they have settled here, early civilizations, majorly Indus civilization and even advent of Aryans. We have to understand these all in the chapter. When was the excavation of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa took place? In 1920s. Where was the Indus Valley civilization developed? Along the rivers Indus and Ghaggar Hakra. The sites of Indus Valley civilization spread over more than 1500 places in which states? That is Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Western Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra. Indus Valley civilization or Harappan civilization found in which other places or countries? They were Afghanistan and in the provinces of Punjab, Sindh and Baluchistan of Pakistan. When was the Harappan civilization flourished? That is between 2500 and 1700 BC. Which cities were well planned? Obviously the Harappan civilization. Where was the Great Bath, a great tank for public baths, found? In Mohenjo-daro. Very important question. Where were the 6 large granaries and quarters for laborers found? In Harappan cities. What was a popular harbour in those days? That is Lothal. Who had a well planned underground drainage system? That is the cities of the Harappan civilization. What were the main occupations of the Harappan people? Weaving cotton and woolen clothes. Who built their houses with dried or baked bricks those times? That is the Harappan people. How was the construction of the houses of Harappan people? 2-storied buildings, and every house had a well for water and bathrooms with pipes that carried waste into the main drains. Who are credited for growing cotton for the first time? Obviously the Harappan people. Let's understand the Harappan people, why they are so important, because of the archaeologists, they found innumerable things which we use now also. That time only they have planned all these things. Production of baked bricks was another occupation. Baked bricks at that time only they used, still we are using here. They rear cattle, goats, pigs, dogs, camels and donkeys, and they carried out trade activities through the Port Lothal in the Arabian Sea with Mesopotamia, Egypt, Iran, etc. This is very important point here. Both men and women were found of decorating themselves. Obviously, women used ornaments like necklaces, armlets, finger rings, bangles, earrings, nose studs, etc. They knew even cosmetics and used perfumes also. That means how developed they were earlier itself. What was the main occupation of the Harappan people? That is agriculture. Name the crops grown by the Harappan people. That is wheat, barley, peas, lentils, mustard, etc. What were the entertainments of Harappan people? That is dance, chess, music, marbles and dice. What was the major entertainment Harappan people for? That is bullfighting. What were the toys children had? Dolls and toy bullock carts. Whose small idols made of clay have been found in the large numbers? That is Amma Talli, mother goddess. Important point. What excellent artifacts are found? The statue of dancing girl and the stone idol of the beard man. These are very, very important points related to Harappan civilization or Indus Valley civilization. Whom did the Harappans worshipped? That is Pashupati, Shiva and mother goddess. People and neem trees, sun, fire, earth, water and snakes also they worshipped. Where did the fire pits, Yagnavatikas are found? In Kalibangan and Lothal. Very important question here. In Kalibangal and Lothal, they found the fire pits which are called Yagnavatikas. Which symbols are most commonly found? That is swastika. Harappans had developed their own unique script and language. The scholars could not decipher it till now. Harappans were the first to develop a system of standardized weights and measures. Then the fire-baked bricks were uniform in size at that time. The measurements and weights of Indus people also moved to Persia and Central Asia. Here you can see Early river valley civilization, as we have understood, that is Sumerian civilization, that is Tigris and Euphrates rivers it is between, that is Mesopotamia. Then Egyptian civilization, that is Nile river near. Then Indus civilization, that is Indus river, Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Chinese civilization, Huang He, Yellow river, Shang dynasty. Earlier map was made like this. They found the earth here, what is shown here. The theory that Aryan invasion was the cause of destruction of the Indus civilization, but it was rejected by Mortimer Wheeler. Archaeologists thought that change in the course of the Indus River and floods led this civilization to decline. And some others believed that the drying up of the Indus River and its tributaries made the people leave this area, and it is now accepted that several factors led to the decline of the Indus Valley civilization. Here question can be asked like this, that 4 options will be given, 3 will be correct and 1 will be wrong related to Aryan invasion, cause of the destruction of the Indus Valley civilization. They can give 3 correct causes and 1 wrong cause. Then you have to understand this very well. That is, archaeologists what they found: due to change in the course of the Indus River and floods, 1 cause; drying up of the Indus River and its tributaries, second one they can give. Then others also they can give as the related to Aryan's invasion. Then you have to find out the correct causes and delete the wrong cause. There are various theories about the origin of Aryans. Some historians are of the opinion that Aryans came from outside the country, that is Central Asia, Arctic region, east of Alps, etc. Some historians say that Aryan is not a race, it is an Indo-European linguistic group. Some argue that they are the natives of India. Here also same way they can give the question, 1 correct option, 4 wrong options from these points related to Aryans. Where was the Vedic culture flourished? On the plains of rivers Indus and Saraswati, and later in the plains of the river Ganga and Yamuna. What was the period in which the Vedic literature was formed is called, that is the Vedic period. Which river disappeared in the Thar desert of Rajasthan is believed to be the ancient river Saraswati, that is the river Ghaggar Hakra. Which river was mentioned about many times in the Rig Veda, that is related to Saraswati. Here we can see the early civilizations now. What are the sources through which we understand related to literary sources and archaeological sources? Let's understand in detail. What is the term Veda means? That is superior knowledge in Sanskrit. Veda means superior knowledge. It is the knowledge of knowing oneself or self-realization. Then Vedas are called Shrutis. They are the universal truth discovered or realized. Same way here also question will be given in such a way that 3 options will be correct out of these and 1 will be given wrongly. Then you have to find out the correct options. In the modern period, who gave a call, go back to the Vedas, that is Swami Dayananda Saraswati. 4 major Vedas constitute the Vedic literature. They are Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. Now what is written in Rig Veda? They can ask the question, that is Vedic hymns composed by rishis. And same way Yajur Veda, it is the details of rules to be followed during sacrifices. Then Samaveda, collection of songs. This the origin of Indian music are traced to it. Then Atharva Veda is collection of spells and charms. So these are very important points you have to remember. Then what are Brahmanas, Upanishads, Aryankas? Brahmanas, that is prose about Vedic hymns, rituals and philosophies. Then Aryankas deal with mysticism, rites and rituals. Upanishads, philosophical texts dealing with soul, mysteries of nature. These are also 3 very important ones. Matching also can come from this. The period of Vedic civilization, that is between 1500 to 500 BCE, is divided into two broad parts, that is early Vedic period and later Vedic period. Early Vedic period 1500 to 1000 BC, also known as Rig Vedic period. Then later Vedic period 1000 years to 600 BC. Now what are the features of Vedic civilization here? Question also will be given like this only. Find out the features of Vedic civilization. 3 will be given correctly, 1 wrong, or 3 correct, 1 wrong, or vice versa they can give your question. The father was the head of the family here in the Vedic civilization. Then there were joint family system in practice. Then the prisoners of war called dasas and dasyas were like slaves. Then monogamy was the usual practice. Monogamy means one marriage, single marriage. Position of women in Vedic period. Let's see here. This also can be questioned here. Very, very important question. We need to know about the condition of the women in the during Vedic period. They can give the assertion reasoning questions also from this topic. Women held a respectable place in their society. They studied Vedas. There were no child marriages or sati, and women had the choice to choose their husbands in Swayamvaram. Then widow remarriage was in practice. Learned women like Gosha, Apala, Lopamudra, Indrani, Vishwavara, etc. were great Vedic scholars. Then women participated with their husbands in all religious ceremonies. Now what were the names of the clothes in the Vedic period? They were Vasa, that is dhoti, and Adivasa, that is upper cloth. Now what were some of the amusements for Vedic people? They were chariot racing, hunting, boxing, dancing and music. Now what were the 3 types of musical instruments used by the singers of Vedic period? That is percussion, string and wind. Percussion means big drums which can be beaten up on, and strings already we know, and wind through flutes or something like that. What subjects were taught in Gurukulas during the Vedic period? The art of warfare, philosophy, agriculture, animal husbandry and handicrafts. Now what crops formed the food of the Vedic people? Rice, barley, bean and sesame. What was the religious belief of the Vedic period? That is, God is one. The Vedic people worshipped and realized which forms of God? That is Agni, Varuna, Yama, Vayu. They performed yagnas also. Here we should understand here. What was the chief of the clan called? That is Rajan. Now kingship was not hereditary. King was asserted by the assemblies called Sabha and Samiti. How developed those people were? No hereditary rule. That means father and his son, no hereditary rule here. The assemblies were there. They selected the kingships, that is Sabha and Samiti. Where did the Vedic people migrated? To the plains of Ganga and Yamuna. From the plains of rivers Indus, Saraswati, crossed the mountain ranges of the Vindhyas and moved towards south. Now what are the features of later Vedic period? We understood thoroughly about Vedic period. Now very important second part, that is later Vedic period features. These features are very important. Question definitely will come from this. The king became more powerful in this period. Sabha and Samiti lost their importance. Just contrast to the Vedic period. This later Vedic period is contrast to the Vedic period. The kingship became hereditary. The kings performed rituals like Ashwamedha and Rajasuya to expand their kingdom. Then the ashrama system started. The ashrama system of Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa started during this period. Now the position of women was lowered here, opposite to the Vedic period. The Varna system came into existence. Child marriage and sati started during this period, again opposite to the Vedic period here. polygamy started among aristocrats and kings during that period. That means earlier in Vedic period monogamy, single marriage. Here polygamy, that means marrying more than one, that is called polygamy, was prevalent here. Now religious ceremonies became complex and complicated. The yagnas and yagas were performed frequently. The gods Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Ganesh and Skanda were worshipped here. Earlier Vayu, Agni, etc. were worshipped. The goddesses Lakshmi, Saraswati, Parvati and other deities got importance here. Now, what are the two great epics that guide the life and art of Indian life? That is the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Now, who wrote the Ramayana? Adi Kavya, that is Maharshi Valmiki in Sanskrit. Now, who wrote the Mahabharata? That is in Sanskrit by sage Vedavyasa. A victory of dharma over adharma. So, we come to the end here. I have covered only 2 chapters thoroughly, and in the next class I will cover next 2 chapters of history in the second part. If you like the video, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Thanks for your attention time. Happy learning.